Well, welcome everyone. On behalf of Bob Castley, the County Executive for Harford County, the Randall Group, and HarfordTV, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the next installment of the Level Up Harford Business Seminar Series. A series of seminars which are designed to provide cutting-edge information to our business community to help you to grow and prosper. So we got a great topic here today to talk about local and state government contracting opportunities. There are tremendous opportunities for local businesses, but half the battle is knowing how to find them, how to procure them, and the process. So we've got an assembly of great speakers that I think will shed a lot of information, but also providing you not only in-depth, but also the hand-holding that would be so critical to making sure that your success is ensured as a result of today. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our first two speakers. First person I'll speak is Spencer Bond, who is the Director of Procurement for Harford County Government, and accompanied by Keith Wolcott, who is Procurement Agent in the Department of Procurement, who will talk and start off by talking about local contracting opportunities right here in Harford County. So again, welcome so much, and without further ado, my pleasure to introduce Spencer and Keith.
Thanks, Raj.
Thanks, Raj.
So really, first off, thanks for being here and having us be a part of this. So thank you, Raj. Thank you, Monica, for throwing on this event. Kind of want to start off our part of the presentation with kind of my philosophy and my kind of background for the procurement. So as I was kind of saying before we started, I've only lived in Harford County Monica would like me to stand up. I've only lived here for about 6 years now. I moved here in 2020 during the height of COVID with my young family. I have a wife and two young girls. I have a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old currently. So we born and raised in Illinois. That's all we knew was Midwest. So you said you're from Michigan.
Yeah.
It's a vacation up in Traverse City. Beautiful state. So all I knew was Midwest. Didn't know anything about the East Coast and kind of anything about this area. Took a job down in Baltimore at Johns Hopkins Health System. So it was it was a great opportunity. Big company. Decided to uproot my family and move here, and ended up in Bel Air. So moved here in 2020. Fell in love with this area. Fell in love with this community, and do things all over the county. We're in Abingdon for jiu-jitsu, we're in Bel Air for dance, we're in Aberdeen at events, we're in Havre de Grace for dance recitals, like all over Harford County. Randomly looked at the job website and saw Director of Procurement for Harford County. Fantastic. It was a great opportunity to give back to my community. So I was lucky enough to get this job. What I didn't know is I get to work with an amazing team like Keith, and what we do is we care about the county. We want to provide the best value to our citizens, to the constituents. I like to think that we're stewards of our taxpayers' dollars. We want to make sure what we're doing makes sense, what we're doing is right, and what we're right for the county. The big thing, if I backtrack a little bit at Johns Hopkins, our big thing was local spend. Hopkins is really big in Baltimore. I don't know if it's one of the biggest. It's one of the biggest employers in kind of the Baltimore area. Their big thing was local spend. They had a project called Be More, and it was how do we keep spend locally to Baltimore? How do we get vendors to come in and provide service to Johns Hopkins as being part of Baltimore City? And they didn't look at Baltimore County, they didn't look at Harford County, they looked at Baltimore City specifically. So that was a big goal of ours, was to source locally. So now fast forward, now I'm in Harford County, one of the first questions I asked was, how do we source locally? So we try to. And for whatever reasons, there's barriers, there's things that we need to work through. So my goal, and I've only been in this job since first part of November, or started in late October, right? So in the first part of November. My goal from the onset is how do we grow local business? I brought this up to our cabinet, I brought it up internally to my team, is what do we need to do to grow local business in Harford County? I've had meetings with Raj, who was just here, who introduced us. Keith, one of the reasons he's here is he's been working on this as well for the last couple of years, initiatives to grow it locally. So being able to be part of this through Monica and providing tips and tricks and our slides in front of you, I think is the first step in growing local business in Harford County. But what I also want to get across is it's a collaborative effort. We're here to support you. So that's why you have our business cards. So if you have any questions, please reach out to us. On the one pager, that's our generic procurement email and phone line. So when you call that, any number of us in the procurement department will answer. But the sentiment that we have up here in front of you is the same sentiment we have in my entire department, is we're here to help you. So if there's bids or projects that you see we use something called Bonfire. That's our procurement site that we post projects to. If you see things that interest you and you have questions about it or need to understand a little bit more or whatever, reach out to us. If you go through the bid process and don't win the bid and you still have questions, reach out to us. We're going to provide feedback, and that's going to help you understand next time what you can do to potentially win the bid. Because change isn't going to happen at what this goes to 1. At 1 o'clock, it's not like something's going to switch and something magic's going to happen. It's going to take time, and that's what we're here to. We're trying to lay the groundwork for the future. It's something that we want to grow, and that's what we're here for. So, really appreciate you letting me speak in front of you today. Like I said, Keith is here. He's one of our dedicated employees to the county. He put together, I'm not going to take credit for it, he put together some really good slides that will help you guys understand kind of our process and what you guys need to do to get a part of that process. So I'm going to turn it over to Keith, but know that I'm here, we're all here to help you and support you. So whatever you need from me, please, my business card has my email, and my work cell phone, and my desk phone. I recommend calling my cell phone. If my phone rings at my desk, I don't know what to do. But cell phones, text me, call me, whatever. I always have it on me. So feel free to reach out. Feel free to ask any question. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to be the conduit between you and the county. So whatever you need from me, please ask. So without further ado, turn it over to Keith.
Thanks, Spencer. Appreciate it. Good morning. As Spencer said, my name is Keith Walcott. I'm a procurement agent with the Department of Procurement here in Harford County. One thing I will say about Spencer, the fact that he did put his business cards out and has his cell phone number on there speaks volumes for Spencer's dedication to this initiative. We'll touch base on how I feel that we could grow local participation, but both Spencer and I are here, and we will get you, pointed in the right direction. So two things I want to go over today is go over the procurement process, how to do business with Harford County, and also touch base a little bit about ethics on how we do things in procurement. And everybody has these slides if you want to follow through or look on the screen. I was joking with Monica, I really wanted to get a TV installed at the back of the room so I could read what's on the screen. But I got this computer here. So what is Harford County procurement? We manage goods and services, construction for county agencies, and the county is committed to open competition, transparency, and achieving the best value for taxpayers. And ultimately what that means is we follow what's in the code and what's in the county charter. So that is their driving factor. We are looking at ways to improve our code to be more flexible.
Right now our code is older, so we are working on initiatives to, don't mean to interrupt you, sorry, but we're working on ways that we can right size it, bring it up to 2026 standards. So, and I think once we do it, that will also ultimately help small businesses and local businesses more. So working on that, it's going to take some time, but that is another big initiative that we have.
So there's procurement laws that we got to follow, and there's a couple that's on the screen. and sorry it keeps going in and out, but the procurement law, which is section 4041 of the county code, is what we follow, and it exists to protect vendors like you and the county to make sure we're doing everything ethically. And you might ask why. We're ultimately spending taxpayer dollars. Who is here from Harford County? So it's our tax dollars, and we must protect that and make sure that we're fair and we're transparent. It prevents favoritism. We can't continue to go to United Rentals because I'm friends with, is that Greg? What's your name?
Gary.
Gary. You know, I know Gary. I can't keep going to Gary. There's rules that I need to follow. And it also gives us clear definitions and steps of how we need to operate when it comes to procurement. It promotes competition. We in Harford County struggle ultimately to get submissions on IFPs and RFPs, which I'll touch on what they mean. We might get 1 or 2 submissions, and we want more. We want 9 or 10. And it's an initiative that Spencer, I'm glad that he's on board. He's a big believer coming from Hopkins on local, and so am I. We have the support behind Spencer. And it ultimately protects the county. We can ultimately look and go, we followed what was in the code. And what does ethical mean? It's always doing the right thing like no one's watching, or someone is watching. Treating everybody fairly. Each vendor gets the same treatment. When someone calls me or emails, everybody gets the same treatment from me and throughout the department. We say no to gifts. We can't accept concert tickets, and we can't accept tickets to the baseball game as much as we would like. We like to be honest and transparent, and we follow the best practice every time. And ultimately, it's about trust for the county and the public, and we're sincere with that. So I want to get into how to do business with Harford County. I'm here today to say that I truly believe that doing business with Harford County is one of the easiest county agencies to do business with. We're small, we don't have a lot of red tape, and we really want to make things work. So I want to get on to, the state is here. I don't know if their presentation, if they're going to get involved with reviewing SSTAT at all. I don't know. But there's 2 things to do business with Harford County. Ultimately, number 1, you must be in good standing with SSTAT. Is everybody familiar with SSTAT? Okay. Do you have any questions about it?
No, I just know I've definitely heard it before. I just couldn't define
Okay.
it for you.
No, it's fine. And there's a quick explanation up there, like what SSTAT allows us as a county agency to know that you are in good standing with the state and you can do business with us. It is a requirement to do business. Spencer touched base on Bonfire. That is our online portal. That is where, is everybody in the room registered with Bonfire? No? Okay. So Bonfire is where we're going to post any of our solicitations. And one thing with Spencer talking about engaging more in the local community, I'm going to touch base on how I think we can utilize Bonfire in the future. But if you go into this link, it is in the PowerPoint, register, that's where our bid board is going to be. That is where you will see all of our solicitations. I always encourage vendors, every Friday, have someone on your team go on at some time, set an Outlook reminder, check Harford County's bid board. That's where you'll see all the solicitations. And the state's going to touch base on EMMA, e-marketplace, which is a great resource as well. I'm just not as knowledgeable on that. And then if you are in, doing any construction, any project over $100,000 requires a pre-qualification. So there's a link to get your company pre-qualified. So if a bid comes out that you need to be pre-qualified, you've taken care of that ahead of time. So I touched base on step 2. You register with Bonfire, step 1. Step 2, you're going to find all of our IFPs and RFPs posted here. And the link is to the bid board is on that page as well. So step 3 is kind of understanding the thresholds and purchasing. So the code says anything between $0 and $4,999 requires 1 quote. I can proudly say that Harford County, even though it says that, we go out and get multiple quotes because you can get a lot of spend on a contract under $5,000. But once you spend up to $25,000 with the county, we do have to enter into a contract. $5,000 to $24,999.99 is where we go out and get 3 quotes. And again, we go out and get multiple quotes beyond the 3 quotes. And this is something I think procurement as a whole we can get better on. The 3 quote process is handled outside of Bonfire. It's still a formal process, but we're dependent on our agencies to go out and get the quotes, provide them to procurement, we validate them. But I think where we can get better on the local side is building a list of who does food, who does construction, who does IT, and we go, did you reach out to this small business in Harford County? It's in the infinite stages, but I do think it's something that we will get better with moving forward. So $25,000 and above is a formal competitive solicitation, and that's where it requires public solicitation. And like I said, those are all posted to Bonfire. And anything $50,000 and above requires us to go to the Board of Estimates for approval. If it's consultant services, it's $25,000.
And when I was, sorry, real quick, and when I was talking about, like, when we're updating the county code, this is a big part of it. So some of these thresholds that require 3 quotes or formal contracts, that's one of the big things that we're looking at to improve. Because I think some counties require different thresholds than what we do. So that, when I say we're working to update our procurement code, which is our governing law, essentially, this will be a big part of it. So anytime, if there's any update, we'll make sure there's a communication around that, so you're aware of it and kind of understand what's changed.
Perfect. Any questions so far of anything I've covered?
I think you may have mentioned, are you having trouble getting quotes for like pre-minimum required at those sorts of things?
So the question for the video is, are we struggling getting 3 quotes? Our code says that we need to get 3 quotes when possible. And there are cases where a department will come with 2 quotes, and like, we need more quotes. Oh, I can't get on a quote. And we require in procurement, like, I need an email from 3, 4, 5 different vendors saying they won't do it. But I do say it's far in between. But I can say getting 3 quotes is accurate. But I want to improve on that. You know, we're going to build a list of local vendors and be able to outreach to them. We in procurement, I say to our departments, procurement is typically the last person that people want to contact. Just how we are. Always have us at the seat at the table first. If you have any questions on anything procurement, anything that's posted to the bid board, pick up and call the agent. We're here to help. And like Spencer says, any agent will answer the phone and help you. It's not like, oh, well, Spencer's out, he can't help. You know, we're a small department where everybody's kind of in tune with everything. So submitting the bids and proposals is a little different. We used to accept paper paper submissions, but now it's all electronic. So if you ever have any issues, just pick the phone up, we'll be able to help. The thing that we're really strict with is that there is a cutoff for 1 p.m. for bid submissions every Wednesday. And if any bid is late, we're not allowed to accept it because it's electronic, so it just shuts off the portal. So if you ever have any questions, submitting a bid, pick up the phone. We're here to help. And we always encourage, if you're going to submit a bid, if there's a check mark that needs to go somewhere, your name needs to go somewhere, if it says write none, write NA, just make sure you fill that out so we don't have to make a determination if the bid is responsive or not. And then step 5 is the word of the contract. This is where we get into contract, where we ask for the bonds, we ask for your insurance. Honestly, the toughest part of doing business with Harford County is achieving the insurance requirements, but we're here to help and work through you with that.
And he's right about it being one of the biggest hurdles with contracting with Harford County is insurance, but we do have a responsive like risk management team and legal team that actively helps us try and push things forward, and we'll try and find workarounds around if there's issues that to kind of move things forward. It's certainly not something that's going to get held up long. We're going to do whatever we can to push it forward, and they have that same mindset of how can we get this moving forward. So they actively try to help us mitigate some of those issues.
We have a good team.
Yeah.
All right, so I want to go through 3 examples of what we do as far as procurement within Harford County. We're going to go over the 3 quote process. We're going to explain what an IFB is and what an RFP is. Those are the 3 most commonly things that you as a vendor will come by. So the first thing is that the county needs to go out and buy AEDs. The department's going to set a budget before they even go through the 3 quote process. So again, with the 3 quote process, the department and agency is going to go out on their own and get their quotes. So they need to identify their budget, identify their needs. This one, they identify that we need 18 AEDs. Obviously, we're under the threshold of $25,000. They're guesstimating at $24,400. What we make sure in procurement, that everybody that we're asking to quote, they get the same information. We want to make sure that every vendor that's in this room has an apples-to-apples quote. And we also let you know what time it needs to be submitted and the deadlines for it. And just wanted to review, you'll see throughout procurement what is responsive, what's responsible. Like, what does that really mean? So when we receive a quote, we receive a bid, we want to go, is this responsive and responsible? And ultimately, what does that mean? Responsive means that you met all the requirements and qualifications that were listed in the specification. So you did what you did what we asked you to do. And when it comes to responsible, then we look to see, can you actually do it? Do you have the financial capacity to do it? And the technicality skills. So an IFB is an invitation for bids. There's an S after that. So this here, an IFB example, why we use an IFB is we just want the best price. And that's the difference between an IFB and a request for proposal. Request for proposal, we need the technical skills, we need price, we need references. IFB, strictly price. It's lawn mowing, right? So pretty basic here. So Parks and Recs needed to go do countywide mowing. We knew the budget was $700,000, so we did an IFB for this. And I listed why is it appropriate. The scope of work is clear. We're going to cut grass no more than 3 inches high every 10 days. No need for evaluation. We just needed your best price for the county, so this is why we would use an IFB. RFP is a little more complex. It takes time. It could take 6 to 8 months to get through the county. This example up here is that the county wants to redesign their website. And again, we don't want best price because anybody's going to submit best price. For an RFP, you're going to come in, you're going to do a presentation. We're going to look at your price. We're going to look at your references, and that's the drive behind an RFP. And I'll end it with this, Monica. I think I'm doing good. I said this earlier, work with procurement early in the process. Communicate, call us. We're easy to work with. And don't do it alone. We're here to help you grow your business with Harford County. And that's our contact.
Yeah, that's the general line, phone number, and general inbox that we mentioned before. Multiple people see that, so we'll get it.
What would a responsible versus irresponsible vendor look like?
So the question is, what would a responsive versus an irresponsible vendor look like, correct? So if you're looking at responsive, when I mentioned, make sure you feel responsible.
Like what makes someone responsible versus like, I think I got the responsive part, but you said like responsible too. Are they capable of doing it? What would make someone capable versus incapable in your guys' eyes?
Well, sometimes when we're looking at kind of I take that question as more like when we're looking at best value for the county. A responsible vendor might be someone, we might get 2 bids. One might be a Baltimore County vendor, and one might be a Harford County. So being local might make you more attractive, even though your price might be a little bit higher. So responsible is like, can you do the work? Does it make sense for the county? Does it provide the best value for the county? So there's a bunch of different factors that we're going to factor into the decision. So the responsible, it's not just, I don't think it's a one-size-fits-all answer. It's kind of taking a look at the entire picture and make sure what makes sense for us for that project, for the county. And that could be multitude of things.
Along the same line with this question, when it states financially and technically, I get the technical part, but how are you going to measure the financial aspect if this vendor is able to provide the service?
So the question was, how are we going to measure the financial aspect of the bid being submitted? I think that's a good question. When you submit the bid and it's, so for like the RFP, or sorry, the IFB, the example that Keith had up there was lawn mowing. And lawn mowing, usually the bid is broken down to sections and different, can you do pesticide, can you provide mowing, snow removal, whatever. Like, it's all going to be broken down and you can provide pricing for each of those services. We're going to take a look at kind of the pricing, and for that we're going to look at strictly lowest price. You say you can do it for $100,000. So Billy up here said you can do it for $200,000. Well, we're going to go. Sorry, what's your name? Melinda. Mm-hmm. Melinda can do it for $100,000. We're going to go with Melinda, and we're going to take it at face value that your pricing reflects that you can do the work. For the RFP, you come in $100,000, but you come in $200,000, but you're local and you're Cecil County. Maybe local is going to make that $200,000 a little bit more attractive to us doing business with them. So the financial aspect is there's got to be trust kind of built into it. We're going to have to trust that what you're presenting to us means you're capable of doing the work. We're going to do reference checks. We're going to do the SStat, make sure that you're in good standing with the state. There's things that we're going to do to like kind of back up our decision, but ultimately what you present to us is you telling us you can do that work for whatever price you're quoting us.
And for the example for the lawn mowing, and Spencer hit on everything, is when I say responsive, did you submit everything? And maybe there was an equipment list that we asked for. So you provided an equipment list to mow countywide, and you list your equipment as one push lawnmower. Like, to me, you would not be responsible to be able to do the work. So we would say, we would pick the phone up and call and say, you really have one lawnmower? Yeah, I'm going to cut the whole entire county, and if you can convince us you can, then you would be responsible. So
One little Toro.
Yep, just a little push there. So that's just kind of, when we ask for the documents, then we review the documents to make sure you're responsible being able to do it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It was a good question. Any other questions?
Well, thank you for having us be a part of this. It's been a pleasure being up in front of you, kind of talking about our vision for procurement in Harford County. As I was saying earlier, business cards in front of you, PowerPoint, and then that one pager really has kind of all the tips and tricks and links that you would need to get involved with Harford County. So make sure you get registered in Bonfire if you're not already. SStat is a big thing, so make sure you get SStat. And feel free to pick up the phone and call us. We're here to answer. Like I said earlier, Keith's a great resource. I lean on him for a lot of what I do. So reach out to any one of us. We're here to help you out. So,
And then typically you should let your boss have the closing remarks, but I would encourage all of you, as we are growing this local partnership, if there's ideas that if you're struggling with of why you can't do business with Harford County, if there's suggestions, a way that we can change procurement or the way our departments, like, we absolutely want to hear from you. We can sit up and do presentations and say how we do things, but we're only going to go as far as you can let us go. And we want to work with you, working with economic development, Raj in the back and Karen Holt. So please use us and reach out, and you can have the final say.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you so much for signing up for the state of Maryland, how to do business with the state. We are in the state of Maryland, hence we should know how to do business locally. Today you heard from the procurement shop of Harford County only. So the process that you heard earlier was just for Harford County. Not Arundel, not Baltimore City, not Baltimore County. So you may find that as you market from county to county, that things could be different terminology, different acronyms, different process, different of what's a responsible bidder. Like, it could vary a little bit. Some of the standard is just basic across the board. Everyone's pretty much doing the same thing to kind of get the work out there and say, hey, here are the vendors. Again, name is Monica Randall. My company is called the Randall Group. So we have a contract with Harford County to provide trainings of this sort as well as one-on-one. So for us, we won the contract to provide training and one-on-one. Just in case I forget, you can sign up with me to have a one-on-one session free of charge. As many as you need, as many as you like. We can discuss anything and all things business, whether it's doing business on the federal side or doing business on the state side or both. What I can't do is you cannot assign tasks to me. Hey, Monica, I need to find an agency that buys basket weaving. I weave baskets, and I want to do baskets with fruit in it. Can you help me find? I can show you how, but I won't do it for you. So that's how the one-on-one goes here. And I do get that sometimes. Like, you want a task. You want to give me tasks to do. So it's kind of the opposite, right? It's all free. However, you will do the work, and I give homework. So when you come to me for a one-on-one, I'm going to give you a list of things to be done, and I will tell you what I tell everyone. Do not contact me for the next session until the homework is completed. So I'm a taskmaster, but I guarantee you at the end of the day, you'll know how to do business, not just with the state, but with the federal government. And again, my primary focus, I live right here in Aberdeen, is to help Harford County businesses. I'm right here. I'm legally registered right here. So just wanted to make sure I got that out just in case at the end we run out of time. So again, today's focus is doing business with the state of Maryland. So Harford County gave you different websites to go to look for work. I'm going to give you different ones because this is marketing to the state as a whole. Now, I will give a disclaimer there. I personally and professionally do not believe in marketing to entire state. You know how hard that is to reach all the sub-agencies within the state? No. I'm going to show you that, actually that's going to the website and I can't. I would have shown you that there is a list of state agencies within the state of Maryland. It's about a total of maybe 90. So it's really more about you selecting the state agency that procures what you offer versus you marketing to an entire state or an entire county or the cities within. So just know even if I don't show you by visiting that particular website, keep in mind, I never want to spend my time trying to create one marketing pitch or strategy to market to an entire state. You will be spinning your wheels. Every state, no matter the state, they have sub-agencies. For Maryland, they call them state agencies. Little under 100. You need to know what state agency procures what you offer. That's where your marketing should be, not the state as a whole. Even though today's class, to keeping it general, I'm going to focus on the entire state. But for you, you know I need to find a state agency. I need to find a county that I want to do business with, create your marketing strategy, and then from there, you tweak it. Remain flexible. How you market to Baltimore County could be completely different than how you market to Baltimore City. It's not the same CAPE statement for everyone. It's not the same pitch for everyone. I have one client where we worked on his capability statements, which this is not a capability statement class. I have that coming up soon, but we have 15 of them. And they market to 15 different types of customers. Some are city, some are county, some are state, and most are federal government, and they're all different. So just keep in mind when you're marketing, how you market to one is not how you market to other. You can't rinse and repeat, not everything. All right, so I wanted to make sure I got that out as well. A little bit out of order today, but I'm flexible. All right, so when we're dealing with the state of Maryland, just keep in mind that, you know, this as a state, they're spending about $19 billion annually. And you will hear me sprinkle in, but the feds do, because I need you to understand that if you want to grow and expand, you should probably be marketing to both. The federal government, who spends, by the way, over $600 billion annually, versus state of Maryland, who's at $19 billion. I want you in both pots. $600 billion annually versus 19, you should not leave the federal government off the table. Are you ready? Maybe not. I'll just ask a really quick question. You can just raise your hand. How many are registered in SAM.gov? Okay, so those that were not, you cannot do business with the federal government. That's step one, that you must be registered in SAM.gov. So when we look at the state of Maryland, we'll look at some databases where you need to be registered. But I threw you a little lifeline there to say, if you want to attach yourself, you want to go after some of that $600 billion in a given year, you must first be registered in SAM.gov. All right? Please make sure you write that down. It should have been way more hands in this room. Because when you are focusing and you're marketing your business, you're making sure you're ready for both, because you never know where the customer will come from. So you must always be ready. As someone say to me, ready is ready. We were at a shooting class for guns, but you know, like ready is ready. You know, if you're not ready, you're not ready. You know, so it's kind of the same thing in procurement. You must be ready at all times. All right. Largest, again, state of Maryland, we're at $19 billion. Contracts are for all types of goods and services. Keep in mind, when you are attempting to sell, doesn't mean the state of Maryland will be in need. So you're marketing your widget, which is a product and or a service, and you're getting no traction. No phone calls are being returned, no emails are being, it could mean that at the time in which you're pitching, you're marketing, that that particular service and or product is not required by the state. That means you must circle back. I know you want to grow, you want to expand your business, you want to generate revenue, I get that. But at the time that you're marketing may not be the time that the agency is in need. So what will you do? You will circle back. Now that's a rinse and repeat. You must always keep going back, even on the federal side, all right? Keep in mind, sticking with the second row there, excuse me, not the second row, but the second section, small business participation goals. State of Maryland tries to target about 15%. And that's through SBR, and I'll tell you what SBR is in just a second, all right? MBEs, they're at a goal of about 25%. And then unfortunately, like with the federal government, the veteran-owned is only 1%. I think on the Fed side, it's only 3%. I have no idea why it's so low. All right, but those are the goals. Goals are, if it's anything like the federal government, goals are, hey, I would like for you to, meaning as a state agency, but if you don't, do better next time. There's no consequence, there's typically no penalty. They are just goals that are to help them to remember that we exist. We as small businesses exist. We as minority-owned small businesses, we exist. As veterans, we exist. Set something aside, because that's what a goal is. I'm going to set aside that contract for a veteran. I'm going to set it aside for a woman. It's a set aside. So when you're out there marketing any certification that you have, hey, I'm a woman-owned business, let them know that. Are we asking for any special preference? No. We're just letting them know that we're here to help you meet your goals. Now, mind you, I can do that, but what I can't do is you're not meeting your goals. You need to do better. Like, I can't go and point the finger, right? So there's a very fine line between me friendly reminding you that you do have a goal and me informing you that you don't meet it. So when you're out there marketing, you want to mention it, but not in a way like you are expecting something because you're woman-owned or because you're minority-owned. That I do not believe in. At the end of the day, we all must prove we can do the work, period. Irregardless of race, creed, it doesn't matter. Can you do the work? And you'll find it when you're out there and you're marketing, you'll find a lot of people, they hang their hats on their certifications. Not a believer in that. Can you do the work? Yes or no? And so that's what I want you to focus on when you're marketing. Your CAPE statement should show that you can do the work. And yes, as startups, your CAPE statement may show no past performance on it. It's okay. As one of my mentors told me, you fake it till you make it. Hence the reason of my company, the Randall Group. There's no group, it's just me. Okay? I am the group. Now, do I have some individuals that help me? Yeah, but I'm carrying pretty much 95% on my own. I've been doing it since 2011. But it's the Randall Group as far as anyone's concerned, other than the television and recording that just now. Okay? All right? So again, you do what you need to do to give that presentation, and just remember your CAPE statement typically is the first snapshot of who you are and what you do, so make it pop. Make sure that it's good. It's not a CAPE statement class. However, you will need it on the state side and the federal. Okay? You hear the passion in my voice, right? This is all I've ever done. Right out of high school, 1989, this is it. This is all I've ever done, all I want to do. I want to teach and get you to where you need to go to do what? Build your business and create your legacy. That's what it's all about. Leave something behind. Not for the man, but for ourselves. Okay? All right, so in state of Maryland, this is a good place for you to start. You're going to be awarded state of Maryland contracts to do what? Leverage them to win the big bucks, to win the federal contracts. Everything is a leverage. No contract should be too small. I don't care if it's only $2,000, that's past performance. You've gone from no past performance to past performance. You get enough of those, now you can leverage those wins to go after the big work. No one wants to be the first to award a contract to you. Oh, no one's ever hired you and paid you to do that? I don't think I want to do that. But then you say to yourself, well, then how do I get in? Becoming a subcontractor, working under a prime just for a little bit. A win is a win. So even on the state side, you're doing the same thing. The strategy is the same, okay? Lastly, benefits. As I mentioned before, you've got networking, obviously, set-aside programs, obviously, and there are so many things locally. How many have a personal or business page on LinkedIn? I should see every hand in here up. LinkedIn is huge, huge. I generate revenue from LinkedIn by what? Posting, reposting, letting people know who I am, what I do, what my services are. He may post something from the state of Maryland. Actually, before I came here this morning, the Harford County Chamber of Commerce is having an event here on February the 25th. I saw that right before driving here. I went on ahead and did a repost, and I had in my email about 87 people I send things to. I sent that to them as well. Just letting the community know locally and in other states, because I do business all over. But my point of the matter is, I'll get an email. Thank you so much for sharing that. Will you be presenting? Can I talk to you after? I literally generate revenue from LinkedIn by doing nothing but going in a couple of minutes a day, posting and reposting, liking and just sharing. That's it. Costs me nothing. My inbox is full of messages from people wanting to do one-on-ones to find out who I am and what I do. I cannot speak to LinkedIn enough. Also, I'm connected with state officials, with federal government contracting officers. How would I get her name and phone number? It's almost impossible, right, to even find these people online. They're on LinkedIn. And every time he or she posts something, I read it, I post it, I sign up. This is networking. Yes, it's virtual, but it works. So next time I see any of you in my class, I'm going to ask the question again, who's in LinkedIn? And every hand in this room should go up. That is easy, free marketing. If you're not marketing, how would anyone know you even exist? People say to me, I have a website, but I don't know who you are, so how do I know to go to your website? Something needs to drive me there, right? I use LinkedIn to drive people to my website. I give them just enough to get them interested, and then they see the website link, and then they go there. How do I know that? Because I'm tracking who's visiting, how long they're staying, what pages they're on. And the pages that no one's on, I take them off or I hide them. All of this is part of what you need to do to kind of get yourself out there, all right? Biggest platform you'll find for state of Maryland for finding work is Emma. Anything and everything in regards to state of Maryland procurement is on Emma. That's what they call it as the acronym, all right? E-Maryland Market Advantage. You need to be registered in Emma. Now, is Emma the end all to be all? No, because earlier I mentioned that there are state agencies within the state of Maryland which you need to market to on a regular basis. So Emma's great, but I would rather take my 90+ list of state agencies, determine which ones actually procure what I offer, and then go to those individual websites in addition to Emma. I don't believe in relying on only Emma. If all you're going to do is go into Emma after you register or have it send you opportunities to come up, and that's all you're going to do, you're behind the 8 ball. That's not marketing. No relationship, no contract. I want to get to know the state agencies that are placing their opportunities in Emma. I want to attend their events. I want to shake hands and kiss babies. I'm not just going to only go in Emma, which means you're waiting for it to be posted before you know about it. So now you're always behind the 8 ball. That's not effective marketing. You should be out there shaking hands, kissing babies, building relationships, and also going into Emma, also going to the state agency website. You're doing all of this. I've been doing this a really long time, and I'm a taskmaster, so I'm really good about my schedule. Everything that needs to get done gets done. I'm in Emma. I'm in SBR. I'm in usaspending.gov. I'm in sam.gov. I'm every day, just for a few minutes each day. Not looking for work for myself, because part of what we do is we help others find work. So I'm in there for the clients. Hey, this just dropped. That just dropped. Oh, this solicitation just got canceled. I wouldn't know that if I weren't constantly in it. So if you believe that in procurement you can do one thing at a time and you can hyper-focus and only in one area, it won't work. You've got to be a better multitasker and do it well. Not start a task. Start it and complete it. Give yourself deadlines, due dates. Everything's on my calendar. If this wasn't on my calendar, I would have missed it. Because I have too much. I have too much going on. You've got to figure out what helps you manage. And when it comes to procurement, when's the last time I've been in Emma? When's the last time I've been in SBR? When's the last time I've been in sam.gov? Your calendar should tell you that, to remind you, because you're constantly on the hunt. In addition to shaking hands and kissing babies in person when possible. COVID is over. Yes, I know we've all built these wonderful, beautiful home offices and gyms, and we want to stay home now. Can't do it. You've got to get up and you've got to get out. I'll give you one small trick and then we'll go to this slide. Even virtually, I market. If I'm in a webinar or an online training, I go right to the chat. Good morning, everyone. So nice to meet you. My name is Monica Rand. I do a short blurb, drop my website address, and keep it moving. Next thing I know, everyone else is dropping theirs. It's networking. So even in a virtual training, you can still find a way to let those 150, 250 people, so now people I didn't even know saw my welcome, good morning, and by the way, I'm not teaching. I'm just attending like everyone else. Find a way to think outside the box. Everything should be a marketing activity. Next question. How many of you have business cards? That's better. You wouldn't go anywhere. They're always on me, always. And now they're doing this. I went to a traveling owned conference in Vegas. Oh, I had so much fun. And they were doing the phone thing. Yeah, I was like, what is that? And so now I find I've got my cards on me, but I always have it ready on my phone. I was in a supermarket totally nowhere near here, and someone said, Monica. Turns out someone from high school, 1989, didn't even recognize. Telling my age right now. And he just kept calling my name, and I'm in line to get my food, not my neighborhood. So I'm thinking it must be another Monica. He says, yeah, we went to school together. And I'm saying to myself, I'm old. I don't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday. You can't be. He says, yeah, I sat behind you and such. He knew, he remembered. Turns out he had a business. Needed help getting his MBE. Whipped out his phone, I whipped out my phone, and there we go. And by the way, I have no idea who he is. No idea. But my point is you're always ready, right? Ready is ready. So when you come to training classes like this, you should have your business cards. None of you should leave here and not say something to each other. Your partner, your next partner to help you fund, staff, and manage that big contract that you can't do on your own could be in this room. It's a missed opportunity when you come not prepared. Always be ready. All right? Always. I don't expect you to have passion about this thing like I do, but it is $600 billion. It's kind of hard not to get excited, you know, when you're talking about that much opportunity there that I might be able to tap into on behalf of my business. Always think like that. Emma, you need to register. All right? So I'm giving you the website link there, your column number 1. I'm so sorry, I have no idea why it keeps blinking like that. Next is when you go into Emma, we'll ask you for your tax ID or your social security number if you are a sole proprietorship. You want to make sure you're using Chrome. It seems to work best with Emma. And then also set up to receive email alerts. The biggest thing I want to bring to your attention, second to the last column, is that UNSPSC. I'm pretty sure we've all heard of NAICS codes. Who has not heard of a NAICS code? NAICS code. It's a federal thing. All right, great. Well, it turns out in the state of Maryland, they also utilize UNSPSC codes. So when you find your NAICS code, find your corresponding code to go with that. Set up your alerts so that Emma will send you regular updates of opportunities that are coming out for construction or janitorial, whatever it is that you do. But if you set up that alert wrong, you'll get garbage. You'll be like, why am I getting this? Why am I getting that? All right, so make sure you set that up in Emma correctly. And then last, once you're set up in Emma, you will then be able to set up an SBR. All right, that's your Small Business Reserve program. So you want to set up in both. You want to make sure you're in there both, looking for opportunities in both. It's a combination. Yes, ma'am.
Can you put in more than one code, and how frequently would you recommend that someone is checking these websites? Is it twice a week, 3 days a week, all day?
Okay, so the first question was, can you put in more than one code? The answer is yes. So when you set up your profile, we'll give you an option to do that. And then secondly, it's like, what's the frequency of going to these different these databases and finding work, looking for work, just keeping up to date on what's going on? I would say at least once a week, at least. While we're talking, opportunities are being added and removed. This is a daily, all the time thing. This is not, oh, they only go in and update Emma once a month. No, it's a daily thing. But, you know, by the time the day is over, what you saw last week could be completely different. I know I found this opportunity. Now it's not there because funding has been removed. They no longer have it, so they've deleted it. Again, procurement moves fast, which is why you need to move fast. Hardly anyone talks as fast as me. However, you just have to step your game up just a little bit, all right? I know some of us are not ones, well, I don't really like going to events and talking to people. Send someone. You've got to find a way to break it through, okay? Because it won't do it for itself. And think about it this way. I'm in procurement, like the gentleman that just left. I have an opportunity. I don't know you. We just met, but you want me to award you a multi-million-dollar contract. Really? Never heard of you, have no, you do that. I know thousands of firms that do what you do. What makes you so special? This is where the building a relationship comes in. If you shake hands and kiss babies, now when you submit your proposal response, I know that company name. I've seen her several times. We've met one-on-one. That's different than just going in Emma, finding something, and submitting proposal responses where it's a template that you keep, rinse, and repeat. And also, whenever you submit, and they didn't mention this earlier, but like, actually he sort of kind of did. If you don't win, it's not over. Find out why. Give them a call and figure out, did I miss on price? What was the miss? Because what we're doing a lot of, two things. One is we are utilizing the same template over and over and over again. Template is what? We've got we find something, we find a request for a proposal in Emma. We write our proposal response based on a template we use for something else. We don't tailor it to the customer. We just kind of do it like a boxes and filling in the blank, and we submit. Proposal submission is not a template. It should be tailored. When the potential customer reads it, it should read like it's only for them. That's the biggest mistake that we make. I could teach you everything in the world, but if you cannot write a winning proposal response, you are dead in the water. Period. And if you can't do it in-house, you'll need to outsource it. So keep that in mind. It cannot be a template format that could be for any customer. It could be for any proposal response. You must tailor it. And by the way, I jokingly say to my clients all the time, if you come to me for proposal writing services, if your intent is to not win, hire me. It's not my skill set. I can tell you what to do, how to read it, how to break it apart, but I've never in my 37 years of doing this ever written a winning proposal response. So I know my shortcoming. That means I've got to outsource. That's money. So you could take these classes all day, but at the end of the day, when you find the work in Emma, you find the work in SBR, if you cannot write a winning proposal response, you are dead in the water. So just keep that in mind. No one can teach that. All right? It'll take you years to master writing a win. So I need you to understand that you will have some challenges. Find a way to work around. But a proposal writer is not cheap. So that's something you need to budget for. I know I kind of went off script there a little bit, but I just kind of went with it. All right, it's got to make sure I get everything out that I need to with you today. Second thing is we want to make sure we register. This is step 2. So step 2 is you want to boost your chances of being able to find work. So these are the different categories that the state of Maryland has. SBR is a program, MBE, you've got the veterans, and then you also have your DBE and your ACDBE, which is airport concessions. Find the certification that's for you. What's the one? Keep in mind, do I need a certification in order to do business with the state or the federal government? The answer is no. However, if you don't, you're in full and open. That means you're competing against everyone. But if I have a certification, now I'm only competing against an MBE or veteran-owned. So now I'm in a pool of companies that are same and similar to size to me. Now I may have a real shot. But if you have no certification, federal nor state, and you're going after work, you are in a full and open competitor pool. Everyone, every business, every size, every flavor will be in that. It is hard to win when you're starting out. Seek a certification if you can. If you qualify for none, you're in full and open, it is what it is until you're able to qualify for something. Yes, sir.
Can you have multiple?
His question was, can I have multiple certifications? The answer is yes. On the federal side and the state side, you want to apply for any and all certifications in which you qualify for. Do I want you to see that as you are entitled to something? It's some sort of preference? No. It is a way for you to leverage that certification to win work and to reduce your competition pool. That's all you're trying to do, is compete against other businesses of same and similar size that have the same cert that you do. That's all you're trying to do. You're not asking for any special preference or to be placed to the top of the list. Not what a certification does. You just want to reduce it to you are able to bid in a full and open competition kind of standpoint. Like on the federal side, it's like if I don't have a certification at all, none on the federal side, I'm competing against Booz, Lockheed, Simmons. Do I have a shot? No shot at all. The most I can do is jump on their team. That's the most I can do. But with the cert, it'll take me out of that full and open until I become a Booz or a Lockheed or a Simmons. Because by the way, they weren't just born into being multi-billion-dollar companies. They were small just like us. They started in classes just like this. But some way, somehow, they won some work, became known. Now if you drop Booz, long as Booz is on your team, it's pretty much a win. All right? That's what we're all striving to do, and that's what a certification does. It just removes us from that large ocean of competition, places us into a smaller pool so we have a shot just to grow. Okay? Next are the actual certifications that you can apply for with the state of Maryland. Again, you've got your SBR, and I've given you the goal again. You've got your MBE. All right? So you want to make sure that, again, this is only for the state of Maryland. You want to make sure you sign up for these. You want to make sure that you have these certifications as long as you qualify for them. It's a complete online process. Everyone in this room you do not need to hire anyone. You can obtain that certification on your own. It's something all of us can do. All right, just make sure that you have that. And then the last column just goes into some of your benefits. All right, the main thing is every state, they have their goals, right? We saw the goals on like slide 1 or 2. So that means when work comes out for bid, the request for proposal may indicate that it either has an MBE goal or it's only for an MBE. So if you do not have the certification, or it must be awarded to a veteran, it must be awarded to a woman, that RFP will tell you what certification, if any, you must have. But if you have none, you will find some opportunities where they require no certification whatsoever. But in every state, they would like to award to their MBEs, their SBRs, their veterans first. That's usually their first preference when they're attempting to award a contract, typically, because they want to make sure that those groups are accounted for. Yes, ma'am. I'll be right there.
I don't hear you saying WBE in the last 2 slides.
State of Maryland does not have that. Currently, they're working on it. This presentation is actually brand new. State of Maryland is revamping all of their certification programs. Like they didn't have a veterans, now they do. So things are changing. So probably my next class, I'll probably have some different slides, but right now I wanted to present what exists today as of this moment. So we do not have a WBE in Maryland. I'm sorry, I've got to go to the young lady there.
Yes, ma'am. In reference to the veterans, are you speaking of veterans or are you speaking of veteran spouse? Or is it just straight out veteran?
It's whoever's the majority, the question is when I'm speaking of a veteran certification, it means who can apply, right? So the individual that can apply is the one that owns 51% or more of the company. Then you can claim it to be a veteran-owned company. Hence, they can go after the veteran certification. So if the spouse owns the business, she owns at least 51%, then she can apply for veteran certification. If the husband is the veteran, or they both could be, who's the 51% owner is really what you want to look at. Okay? And I'll go here and I'll be right there, sir. Yes.
So I believe, and I'm not quite sure, that one of the certifications is now a CSB, Certified Small Business.
That one's coming out as well, yes. And actually, if you come to the workshop that's going to be here, actually the event that's here on the 25th, they're actually helping people with that certification on the spot. That's another new one.
Yeah, I did it already. I knew it was something that flipped over.
Right.
Changed a bit. Okay.
Okay? And so what she's speaking of is State of Maryland's working on yet another certification that's just for small businesses. So not minority owned, not veteran owned, not woman owned, just strictly as a small business. This is a state thing, not a federal. All right, but again, there will be an event here in this building on February the 25th where you can actually obtain yours. They are going to assist you with it on the spot. I'm sorry, I've got to go to the gentleman here. I'll be right there.
That was my question, so we're good. Thank you.
Okay? Yes, ma'am.
So I went to an event and they were saying it was Baltimore City. bridge, that they were not accepting MBEs, WBEs anymore, that you have to become a disadvantaged small business certification. So,
See, okay, her question was when she went to an event for procurement opportunities for the Key Bridge, that they mentioned that they were not doing any set-aside contracts for any of the designated groups that we just mentioned, that they were doing disadvantaged business only. State of Maryland used to have a disadvantage, but it was actually a question on the application. Still is, but they're not really doing that anymore. Again, things are changing. Like while I'm speaking right now, it's changing, you know? And so pretty much a small disadvantaged business on the federal side is any owner who owns within the company 51% or more and the business, their personal net worth, assets minus liabilities, are under something like 1.2 million. Like the dollar amount keeps changing. I think on the state side it's something like 1.6. So you're deemed a disadvantaged business, but it's not so sticky there because it's not really the business that's disadvantaged, it's the owner who owns at least 51%. That's really where the disadvantaged business part comes in at. So if that's what they're saying, then they're setting it aside for those who are claiming to be small disadvantaged businesses, which means the owner's personal net worth is under X. And that's a self-certification, by the way. It's not an application process. Even on the federal side, you just check the box that you are. If anyone calls you on it, you'll need to be able to prove it. Pretty much. It used to be where you had to register, submit an application. On the federal side, that changed. On the state, it's also just a box. But you've got to meet that threshold. Yes, ma'am.
Pertaining to nonprofit?
No. I'm sorry, the question was, is what she was referring to, does it pertain to nonprofits? The answer is no. Everything that we're speaking about today is for-profit entities. If you happen to go into Emma and find something for a nonprofit, that's wonderful. But most of this is for for-profit entities. Not that nonprofits can't go for the work too. Of course they can. All right? So let's see where we are here. So we've got step 3, finding contracting opportunities. We can utilize Emma. Notice at the very first column at the bottom, I've given you a link to the state agencies. So typically, if we had more time, I would open that up and show you the state agencies. Again, it's about 100 of them. And that'll be just for the state of Maryland. So I want you marketing on the entire state side as a whole, but I also want you marketing to the individual state agencies. Because there are so many, take maybe 3 or 4 at a time. They all have websites. Go to the website for maybe 4 or 5 state agencies, see if the state agency procures what you offer, you think it's not a go, there's no connection or mesh there, you move on. But you need to take your time and go through all 100 of them. And I know what I'm asking for, and I do recognize there's no cheese in that. There's no money, you will make no money doing what I'm asking you to do. But to not do it, that means you are solely relying on Emma. That is not a good idea. You've got to mix it up a little bit, okay? And let's see here. And then I've also given you first column at the very bottom, a link to procurement.maryland. So that's another place where you can learn about procurement opportunities going on in the state of Maryland. Notice how it's not just one place. There are multiple databases where you need to be going to look for work. It's not just Emma. Like a lot of people will heavily rely on SAM.gov on the federal side. Everyone's waiting for it to be published in SAM.gov. Do you realize companies have been marketing for that work for months? In some cases for years. They were waiting for it to drop. Proposal is ready. It's ready to go because they've built the relationships ahead of time. States no different. You can't wait for it to drop before you care about it. Other companies have been building relationships prior to it even coming out. You're just now finding out. I knew for 8 months now that it was coming. That's the difference between a successful company in procurement and one that's not. One that's always spinning their wheels, always behind the 8 ball. Everything that drops, it seems to be pre-selected for someone else. You can't hate on that. You're the one that missed the opportunity to market ahead of time. Kind of like financing. You obtain it before you need it. You don't bid on a contract and win and then try to figure out how you're going to fund it. Shouldn't you have been thinking about that before you submit the proposal response? Things have an order to them in procurement. Winning the contract could put you out of business. I've seen it. Happy, wonderful. You can't wait to buy that new Tesla. You know, and then you go and you start spending, come on in, sir, and then you start spending all this money because you think it's all yours because you got a $5 million contract base, which is year one, and 4 option years, you are set. Option years are not guaranteed. Let's start right there. There's a good chance that after you perform the first year, you won't get any of those options exercised. Now it's turned from a 5-year contract to a 1-year contract. Or you don't do well during that year, and then they do a T for C. Terminate for convenience. 6 months in, now you've bought the Tesla, you've bought the, the rental property, you can't, I tell my clients all the time, calm down. Wait it out. Wait to see how things settle before you go there. So keep in mind, you need to be ready, and you cannot invoice for about 90 to 120 days after you start work. What will you do? How will you pay your W-2s? How will you pay your contractors? You're out of all that money. You haven't even invoiced the client yet, but you want a contract though. And that's great, but these are the things we don't think about. Now on the state level, it's not as big of a deal because the contracts are smaller typically in dollar value, but on the federal side, that's everything. So be careful what you're going after, okay? Next is what I like to call, column 1 is my eat now. I'm looking for contracts to bid on right now so I can feed my family, pay my staff, and keep my head above water. That's my eat now. Column 2 is my eat later. That's a procurement forecast. I'm looking at work that potentially the state of Maryland may need in the future. That's where I market. That's where I can invoke change. I can have a conversation with you. I could say, hey, I saw something on your procurement forecast and it indicated that it's for veteran set aside. Did you consider making that an MBE? At the forecast level, column 2, I can invoke change. I can market to have what they think they're going to do change to map more towards my kind of business. But if I'm waiting for it to be published in Emma, I can't invoke any change. It's done. Decisions are permanent, already made. But column 2, I can start to build relationships and ask them, hey, did you ever consider X? Did you ever consider doing this? Maybe move it, shift it here. I can do that at the forecast level. But remember, they're not contracts yet. They're just ideas of what the state believes it will spend its money on based on their future needs. I need you doing both. I know I'm like a broken record, right? Monica, how many people do you think I am? You need to figure it out because all of it needs to get done. All right, so again, I need you, column 2, looking at those procurement forecasts. And then column 3 is events like this. You've got Apex, which is wonderful. They're all about procurement. Every state has a Apex. They used to be called PTAC back in the day. So get yourself a Apex counselor. You have me as your Harford County counselor, already prepaid. Apex is no charge as well. If you are a smaller business where you are really not ready, you don't understand really a thing I'm saying right now, get yourself an SBDC counselor. That's also free. I have some clients where they have an Apex counselor, they have me, they have an SBDC counselor, they've got a SCORE counselor. All free. And all of us do something different for them. A lot of times SBDC, they don't do anything in regards to procurement. Yep, you have a procurement question, they usually, oh, talk to Ryan, oh, talk to Monica. And then from there, if I gotta send you to Apex because you need a little bit more hand-holding, you need to take a proposal writing class, I'll shift you to Apex. So we all work together, making sure you have what you want. But guess what the cost is? Your time. Not $1 will leave your pocket. So when you say to me, you don't understand, you don't know where you are, you're flying by the seat of your pants, like I don't get it. All the resources you need are right there, already created, right in front of you. You just got to make sure you have the right counselor to get it done. Sometimes it's more than just one of us that can do it. All right, so I'll say it again. Small Business Development Center is SBDC. If you type that acronym into your website, into your web browser, it'll come right up. Figure out what county you're in, get yourself an SBDC counselor. Get yourself an Apex counselor. Harford County, you just email me, you're done. Now you have a Harford County counselor. And then SCORE is another one. Those are retired executives like myself who have come back and they're giving back. That's 4 different counselors helping you through whatever your challenge is. From writing a business plan to helping you create financial statements, to apply for a loan, to procurement and everything else in between. No need for you not to know. And then the last column is SAM.gov. We mentioned that before. $600 billion annually. But you cannot bid or go after any of that work without a SAM.gov profile. And everything I've mentioned to you today is free. Not $1 will you spend. It'll just be your time, which I know is worth something, but you'll be fine. All right, step number 4, prepare and submit your bid proposal. So we spoke a lot about where to find the work. Once you find it, you need to sit and write your proposal response. One of the things I didn't mention earlier is AI. All right, AI can help you write that, but I went to a conference, I think it was either last year or the year before, and it was a contracting officer from Department of Treasury, I believe, and she said, yes, someone asked the question in the audience, what are you doing about proposals that were written by AI? As a federal government agency, do you care about that? She says, if we read it and we find out that you wrote it from AI, you will be disqualified from further consideration. You cannot take your little 1 or 2 page template that you just threw together, stick it in AI and say, write me a proposal response in relation to this RFP. You could do that, but you want to make sure you scrub it, you go through it, you tailor it to the customer. AI cannot, you cannot just do a strict copy and paste. And by the way, just a small little trick here. If you are utilizing something in, that you're getting from AI, take what's in AI, just a best practice here. Copy and paste the whole thing. Put it into Word, and then I want you to clear out all formatting. Everything. If you don't, it has a code within that text that you just copied. So when you send it to someone, if they wave just in the wrong place, it will show where you got it from. All right? You cannot just copy from AI and then put it in the email. It's embedded. So what I do is I take everything that I copy from AI, I put it into a Word, and then it's got a little button up there, clear formatting. I clear everything, so none of that is, so make sure you're doing that. If you're really, that's just a trick of the trade right now, okay? AI is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. I use it every day. I use it this morning. I use it every day, but my clients don't hire me for me to go to AI and do a strict copy and paste and send it to you and then charge you $2,000. That's not how this goes, okay? So I have to be very careful, but am I utilizing AI? Yes, it's a time saver. I need something, I give it just enough based on my understanding, and then it gets my juices flowing, and I go, bam, there it is. Oh, I knew that. Now I can really do better for my clients, quicker, faster, turn it around. So again, I want everyone in here utilizing AI, but when it comes to your proposal responses, we cannot just do a strict copy and paste because the contracting officers are looking for that, and you will be disqualified. Read that solicitation carefully. Step number 1, read it. Again, not a proposal writer. I'm terrible at it. If I'm writing it, it's not winning, period. That's just how it's going to go. So I probably would have to read that RFP, RFI, sources sought, et cetera, about 4 times before I really get it. That's step 1. It may take you multiple times to read it to understand what that agency, in this case, State of Maryland State Agency, is asking you to provide. It may take you 3 or 4 times to do step 1. Yes, ma'am.
I had that issue happen to me, and I took what they were asking for and put it in AI and asked it to break it down for me to better understand it.
Exactly. And that's how I utilize AI as well. It's a time saver. So if I didn't quite understand, again, you've got a lot of procurement jargon in there. You know, you've got a lot of terminology that we're not familiar with. That's not how we speak every day. So I want to make sure I understand the gist of what it's asking before I start writing anything. AI is a good tool for that. But again, you should not be using it. Everyone in here should be utilizing AI. Okay? You've got to be kidding me. All right. Okay. I have to continue to roll with it. That's just me. So what slide page are we on? I'm not sure what happened there, but it's done. All right, so we're on step 4, right? All right, again, got to keep it moving. No time to spare. So step number 4, so we were looking at step number 1, which was a solicitation, correct? All right, so we may need to read it 3 or 4 times. Step number 2, we want to make sure that we, if we've got questions, if there's a Q&A period. For most solicitations, it will say, like after it drops, it wants your proposal response. However, they will sometimes have a Q&A, a question and answer period where you can submit questions. Now, prior to a solicitation dropping, they may have what's called a pre-bid meeting. All right, that's where it has not gone out on Emma yet. It's not on SBR yet. It's not on procurement forecast. It's nowhere. It's what we plan to drop in the future. They will have a meeting to see if interested vendors may want to participate or just ask questions about what the opportunity is, who's it for, etc. That's a pre-bid meeting. Federal and state, they have those. Look for them. I send my clients to pre-bid meetings so we can see who else is bidding. We have no intention on bidding. We just want to know who else is bidding. And also, it's a good way to maybe jump on someone's team. So I want to know who the possible primes might be. Notice how I'm always outside the box. I'm always coloring outside the lines. All right? I'll utilize something that's meant for A. I use it for something completely different. That's procurement. There is no one way, right way. It's whatever way is going. Is it the front door, the side door, or do I need to climb down from the roof? I've got to figure it out. And that's what I want you to always be thinking. I know what I'm asking for is like, you can't do this like overnight. I get that. But at least think about what you're not doing and maybe add a sprinkle or two based on today's conversation. But you must be flexible because what you do to market to one state agency or federal government agency may be completely different for another one. So yes, that always worked over here, but it doesn't seem to work over here. You must be ready to be flexible. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
Question. Are there specific questions that you should ask at those pre-bid events?
Based on the information that's been just put out there.
Okay.
All right, so prior to a pre-bid meeting, they'll at least put out what the potential solicitation is going to be, what kind of services. So you'll get something. You won't be operating blindly. So you'll kind of know from there what questions to answer. And another thing is like some of my questions, some of my clients are like, well, I don't know what question to answer. Just wait for the Q&A to come out. It'll have all the questions and all the answers, and that should be enough to get your question that you didn't know you had answered. So I may not have a question. It's okay. I'll wait for everyone else to ask theirs. And then I'll wait for the agency to respond, and then I'll go from there, especially if it's a pre-bid.
Some of them have boxes on the actual proposal where people have submitted. So just like you said, everything that you could possibly think of and some stuff you couldn't has already been answered in the boxes. Like, but I saw that not on SAM, but on the county level. Not on the SAM site, but on the county level, they had a box where people had just been asking questions. And it was very informative.
All right, so just like she just said, opportunities coming out, maybe it's not fully out, she's pre-bid. There's an opportunity, people, it's a Q&A period. I want to read those questions and answers to see if maybe it answers a question I didn't even know I had. All right, next we've got number 3, submit on time. Do not even think about being 1 minute past the deadline. Your response will be disqualified from further consideration. It won't even get consideration. The time is the time. Mind you, if you are uploading your proposal response per the instructions into a system, why would you wait 5 minutes before? You and 50 other, he's smiling, you know, you and 50 other people are trying to upload at the same time. System slow, especially if it's antiquated. All right? Now it's past the time you can't even log in. You had no trouble before, but it's 5 minutes before it's due, and you're just, don't do that. Be as early as possible, okay? Next is number 4 for compliance tips. Do what the RFP sources sought RFI says. Example, client of mine lost a $2.85, something like that, $1 million contract because he submitted a cover letter. 1, it was not required. 2, it had typos, which contradicted what was in the proposal response itself. He had the nerve to call me to say, Monica, will you help me write a protest? You're funny. No. Why would you do a cover letter? It didn't ask you for one. Let's just start right there. Only do, from a compliance standpoint, step number 4 on here, only do what it asks you for. If it didn't, don't try to be fancy with graphics, and because one typo, you're out. And he lost that, and I explained to him why I would not help him write a protest, that it would be a waste of time, and he would lose. And he understood why. And it was an administrative assistant that he had just hired that did that. She didn't last past, I think it was 48 hours. Poor child. But she didn't know what she didn't know. She didn't check what she put in the cover letter against what was in the proposal itself because she doesn't write proposals. She didn't even know where to look or what section. You need to be careful from a compliance standpoint. Only do what it says. Leave your fancy and graphics and want to show your thing for another time. In your proposal response is not the place to do that unless it's asking you for that. All right? And then number 5, you want to, which is what I just said, you want to attend pre-bid meetings, webinars. You get to see who the players are. Who's swimming in my swimming pool? Who's going after contracts, the types of, I want to know. And it's not from I just want to give them the evil eye in an event like this. I may want to, let's partner up. Let's team up. Let's see what we can do together, because winning a contract, I mentioned earlier, could put you out of business. Can you fund it, staff it, control it, manage it all by yourself? And you are a team of one. The answer would be no. Team up. I'd rather have a percentage of something than ride. Like someone said to me the other day, she says, half the contracts we have in-house are we have partners, and the other half we don't. And the other half that we don't, they're small. We can easily fund them. The bigger ones, we find partners so we don't use up all of our capital internally trying to fund these bigger contracts by ourselves because of greed, and we want to keep it all for us. So think about that. Wouldn't you rather take if you've got $100,000, wouldn't you rather try to fund on your own, maybe use 50% of that to fund your own contracts, and then the other 50 can go towards funding? That's how we need to think from a procurement standpoint, and not a me, all for me. You'll get there. Booz is like that. But guess what? Booz wins these big contracts, and what happens? They have a subcontracting plan requirement, which means they must hire a small business. So even when they win a $100 million contract, law prohibits Booz. Now, would they rather keep it all to themselves? Of course. Not allowed. They're forced to sub. So think about it that way. All right? Partner up. It's okay. All right? And we're almost done here. I'm not sure what my time is, but I know you're going to give me the close hanger when I need to. All right? So we've got here step 5. After submission, award, and performance. Without going through each and every one of these boxes, you now need to perform. Do what you said you would do. All right? Don't give me excuses why your people are not on time. Don't give me excuses why you're not compliant. The contract told you what my expectations were as the customer. Get it done by any means necessary. And don't come to me with all these things that are going wrong behind the scenes. You just guaranteed I won't award you another one. The client should never know what internal crap you have going on. All right? Just fix it. Make sure that the deadline is met. Exceed their expectations, because your performance on that contract is to do what? To get the next one. I'm not just performing on this one. I'm going to leverage it, especially if I get a good review. I'm going to leverage it to win the next one, and I want the next one from them as well. But if I do a bad job, my people are late, I'm over budget, I've got every complaint and excuse in the world for not getting it done, what will I do? You'll lose that contract. You will not get a good evaluation. And on the federal side, they call it CPARS, C-P-A-R-S. They won't give you a good CPARS report, which means you can't leverage it to win the next one, and now you're out. Complete waste of time. And you got kicked off the project early. So again, you need to be careful. Only go after contracts you can manage or partner up to do more. All right? Any questions? All good? All right, we're almost done here. All right, so go ahead. Let's go past step number 5. Additional resources. Actually, did I not number my own pages? So let's go to additional. I want to go to common pitfalls to avoid. Let's go there. Okay? Not registering an EMA, utilizing the incorrect NIATS code. We're going to common pitfalls to avoid. I think my header at the bottom is covering my page numbers. Apologies on that. All right, so we're on the slide, common pitfalls to avoid. All right, so with the common pitfalls, again, not registering an EMA. We know in the state of Maryland side, EMA is the end-all to be-all of registration. That's where we should go first. With the EMA registration, we can do what? We can now register an SBR. Then from there, decide if you're going to go after MBE or your veterans or your ACDBE or your DBE. All right, but we're starting with EMA and SBR first. All right, selecting the incorrect NIATS code. The NIATS code, N-A-I-C-S. Some people say NAICS, I say NIATS. It is the code that's associated with what you're selling. That's what a NITES code is. So every contract, federal and state, is awarded based on the NITES code. So if you are selling cybersecurity services, there's a code for that. But if you're selling janitorial, completely different code. So you need to know what your codes are and make sure that you place the correct code in EMMA so it will send you the correct opportunities that match that code.
And aren't there subcodes under that even?
Could be. Her question was, are there subcodes under the NITES codes? The answer could be yes. Because like when we talk about, like for instance, perfect example would be information technology services. That's a lot. So there are going to be subcodes under information technology category or services. All right, so you got to figure out what your subcode is. That's your main code. Because if your focus within IT is cybersecurity, I've got to put in to EMMA cybersecurity. Otherwise, it'll give me every type of information technology type of procurement opportunity that comes out. I don't want all that. I just want the focus to be cyber. Okay? And what else we got here? Missing deadlines. We spoke about that before. If there's a deadline for something, make sure you get it in. And I believe what it's really speaking, I believe I wrote it. What it's speaking to is the fact that of your proposal response. Just make sure you're on time. Just be early. What's that old saying? My dad used to always say, if you're on time, you're late. And I know he got that from wherever he got that from. All right? You should be someplace 10, 15, 20 minutes early. Especially if you're coming to something like this, that's your opportunity to network before the training class starts. Otherwise, you're missing the opportunity. All right? I'm not asking questions early. There are no stupid questions in procurement. If you don't understand it, ask it. But if you feel like you don't know what a NITES code is, and it seems like everyone else in the room does, look it up. We all have phones. Like there was an acronym I put on here, GOSBA, and I forgot what it meant. So while the other two gentlemen were presenting, going through my PowerPoint, I pulled it up. Oh, that's the Governor's Office of Small Business. And again, I wrote this, but I forgot what it was. Just look it up. In today's age, right in the middle of the situation, you can just look it up. So make sure you do that. So if you don't feel comfortable asking questions outright, you think they might be, I probably should already know that, just do your homework. All right? We all have to start somewhere. And then lastly is ignoring certifications. Thinking that obtaining them is a waste of your time, your energy. I remember I had my MBE for the Randall Group for years and I never did anything with it. I didn't go in EMMA. All these things I'm asking you to do, I never did. And then eventually I just let the certification lapse, and to this day I don't have my MBE, DBE, SBR. I'm not in EMMA. Can you believe that? I personally, for the Randall Group, I am not in EMMA. Okay? So I'm asking you, I'm telling you that you need to. Then your question might be, well, why are you not in EMMA? Because I do not have anything to sell directly to the government, which is what I'm doing right now. Training, counseling, one-on-one. I don't recall seeing a contract for that in EMMA. So I just let the certification lapse. So I did get it because I felt like I should go ahead and obtain it. I got it. Tried to leverage it to win work, couldn't find any work, so I let it lapse. It could happen. You could go down the road of seeking a certification, thinking that you'll leverage it to win business, and it doesn't quite work out the way that you thought. You don't have to move forward with it. You're not forced to obtain the certification and keep it. Things need to make sense to me. It didn't make sense doing the annual certification for MBE, DBE, and all the rest of them when I could not find any work on behalf of my business. Why do it? So yes, I'm advising you to do these things, but through your research, if you figure out it's not for us, it doesn't map to what we do, our core competencies, don't do it. This is just me presenting that it does exist, but not everything will map to who you are and what you do as a business. Okay? And let's see here. Additional resources. If you can go to that one for me, please. And I mentioned before, you've got Apex as a resource. So everyone in here should be registering for what? Your one-on-ones with me from a Harford County perspective. That's your Harford County counselor. You have Apex, which is the big picture, all things procurement. Your SBDC counselor. You also have SCORE. All right? So you've got 4 different counselors there to help you with that first column there. Then we've got what I mentioned earlier, GOSBA, which is Governor's Office of Small Business. Yeah, that's it. Okay, I had to look down. It's been a minute. So that's another one. So you've got all these different websites you can go to. And notice on the second column, they've got the TIPS, TIPS. All right, they have a monthly where they just administer information about what's going on in the state of Maryland. Again, so many resources. I know you can't participate in everything. Pick and choose which ones you can. All right, and I've got the SBDC there. Then I've given you some key websites. I've given you to the governor's office, procurement website, procurement forecast. You have Emma. You've got the help desk, Apex, Harford County Economic Development, and we should be done. Let's see. We turn the page. Yep, just your next steps. Register, certify, search, bid, engage. All right? And then lastly, it's just your slide here about signing up with one-on-ones free of charge with me. Just to go through where you are, what you're trying to do, what you're expecting to accomplish on the state side, the federal side, or both. And I apologize, not sure what happened with the computer, but it just died, just literally. All right? So any questions? You all have been such troopers. I only saw one person that had to leave, but he mentioned that earlier. So thank you so much for staying with me.
Thank you.
I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.